Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to the 9th day of our Lenten reading challenge, March 11th, and today our reading is from Luke chapter 20, starting at verse 27. You've probably heard me talk about my list of questions to ask when I get to see Jesus face to face. Today's lesson is going to be on that list. I've got lots of questions about what's going on and what he says here. And I can't answer all of them. I don't know the answers to all of them, so I'm just going to tell you a couple of things that I know. The first thing, the Sadducees come to Jesus, like leaders have for the last few days of readings, in an attempt to trap him. And what's funny about this is the Sadducees are attempting to trap Jesus with an intentionally absurd question about husbands and wives and brothers, and somebody dies and somebody else has to marry his wife, and it all has to do with Old Testament law. But what makes it, but they extend it out to such an extent that it becomes a little absurd. And what's even more interesting is the Sadducees don't even believe in a resurrection. They don't believe in an afterlife. So they're specifically asking an absurd question about a doctrine they don't even believe. So that's what's interesting to first of all about this story, and that's also why at the end of the lesson, when the teachers of the law say, "Well said, teacher," those are the Pharisees who do believe in a resurrection, and the Pharisees and the Sadducees don't like each other. So they're sort of playing against each other in this lesson. But again, the other thing that I know about this is that Jesus, even as he doesn't actually answer the question that they pose, he does tell us a couple of things that are true. First of all, it's clear that Jesus is telling us that there is something yet to come, that there's an afterlife, there is a resurrection, that we have something to look forward to after this current life. And the other thing that this tells us is that things aren't maybe going to work exactly the way they do right now. That in that life, in that future time, things are going to be a little different. Marriage is going to be different. Maybe that's why we say, "Till death do us part" in our vows. Marriage is intended to be a lifelong union. But as we look at this, as we think about what Jesus does tell us to be true, that there is going to be something to come, and that it's going to be different than it is now, we have lots of questions still floating around. How is it? How is it going to work? What's it going to look like? What are we going to be? What are we going to do? What do we get out of this? We get out what Jesus says. There is something to look forward to, and it's going to be a little different than it is now. All the other questions will have to wait until that day when we get to see Jesus face to face, when we get to get an answer on that side of eternity. And I look forward to the day when we'll understand all of the other things, other questions that this raises. Continue reading. When questions come up that we don't have answers to, we acknowledge that we don't have answers, and we keep going. We rejoice in those things that we do understand, and we leave to God those things that don't quite make sense to us yet, trusting that one day we'll figure it out. God be with you. Good reading.